dude. So
I
I
don't
got
think high
something
school
here.
kids.
So I got this bat here, right?
Yeah,
Pulled it out of my bat bag. This is a D Gordon Chandler.
Chandler.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good
He gave
brand.
it to me to use, and dude, I kept it in the wrapper.
You're like,
It
yeah, dude, I'll use it.
hasn't even breathed air, dude. I think this is the first time outside of the wrapper. So like, this is where the sweet spot is on a metal bat. So like, if you hold the bat like this, you remove your bottom hand, you keep the top hand on your bat, and you tap, you feel the vibrations all the way up, and like when you get to the sweet spot, it'll stop vibrating. So the sweet
Huh.
spot, it vibrates up here, stops vibrating, vibrates. So like the sweet spot is right about
4 inches, two
here.
inches.
Dude, that's the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot, and that's where it is on the wood bat. Like,
Yeah,
that's the signature and stuff, and that's where the sweet spot is. How crazy is that? How crazy is that?
yeah. I
Right?
mean,
I
you can
didn't know
still hit a
that.
baseball
I
by
didn't know that.
missing a ball, but you're not going to square it up unless you get on that sweet spot.
I didn't know that about that sweet spot thing, and
Never
the
heard of that.
maple and birch and all that stuff until like I started, playing around veterans that were serious about their stuff, serious
I
about
know
their
ash
bats.
like shatters and stuff, right? Too.
Yeah,
It can
yeah, yeah,
break.
yeah. So there's different grains, and I mean it's crazy.
That's something I learned when you look at a bat and if like the grains are tight and if they're like in line or not, like that's good. And the farther away, like the harder it is. And
Yeah, well, there's different. Like, it's different if it's wood or ash, or if
yeah,
it's birch. I still don't 100% know what all the the rules are, but what kids may not know about wood bats are, one, what I just said about the sweet spot. Every bat, every model, everything is different with the sweet spot. Each
yeah,
bat might have a different sweet spot, so you can test it. You can find out where the sweet spot is on a wooden bat by doing what I just did. Right, you hold it with both hands. You remain firm with the top hand, and you lose the bottom hand, and you tap to see where the vibrations stop. That's where the sweet spot is, dude. Um, we talked about the different types of bats, right? There's ash, there's maple, there's birch. Yellow birch. Yellow birch is supposedly the hardest, and it's pretty expensive. Ash is good in the cold, right? So ash is primarily the cheaper, more available, maybe even lower end generic type of bat. That's not necessarily how I felt. That's just kind of always the vibe that I got. But that's better for like cold weather. The birch, the yellow birch, gets harder the more you use it. So the more pine tar, the more reps you get with this bat. If it's yellow birch, dude, it gets like harder the more you use it, dude. So like you'll see, some players using like old school bats. It looks like some beat up shit bats. It might be birch, dude. Thing might be nasty on the low. On the low. Maple, dude, I got a story about maple, right? So that maple was kind of what I swung. But if there's humid air, it'll make your bat more dense. It'll make your bat heavier, right? So if you're playing in the summer with maple or any bat, right, you might get humidity and there might be some moisture that gets in there. Especially if you store your bats in like a humid place, you store them outside, dude. If you store your wood bats in the garage over the fucking winter,
yeah.
dude, they're going to be a little different when you start using them, when spring rolls around. Dude, so, in the clubhouses, at least in AAA for me, at the end of my career, there was like a little, it looked like a scale for, just a little scale. And dude, you could put your bat on it, boom, and it would tell you, what size you had. And, dude, I had a 33 and a half, 32-inch, bat that was probably a little too heavy for me. And I ended up getting a couple hits with it, but I was struggling. And I'm like, shit, dude, why am I late? Nothing's changed. What's going on here? And as the season progressed, you get more tired and like, maybe you lose a little bit of velocity in your swing or a little bit of strength. And dude, I weighed it and it was almost 35 ounces. So my bat gained 3 ounces. My bat gained, my gat baned, dude, that much. Think about
Yeah,
that. So I'm swinging a 35-ounce bat
facing 94
and I'm
like starter.
170 pounds, dude. What am I
Yeah,
doing? I'm like, man, why am I hitting 260 with no extra base hits? Huh? Why? Why's that, dude? So like,
yeah.
there's a whole bunch of different things that go into like wood bats that I didn't learn
No,
until
I think that's awesome. That's
I
really
was
good
later.
information. Kids need to realize too. Like I think practicing with the wood bat, it's a different kind of swing. But sure, you take your reps, hit line drives up the middle in the cage or whatever, like get that kind of feel for it. But that bat that you just pulled up, that Chandler, is drastically different wood than that they go down to Dick's Sporting Goods and go get a little bat for
$50,
90
a
bucks.
Ken Griffey
Yeah.
Jr. replica,
Like,
dude.
I'm sorry, but that's not, that bat is like the top of the line best wood you can get. And it's handpicked for D. Gordon.
And you can hear it too. You want to hear it? So you can tell they said like, okay, how am I going to phrase it? So like the higher the pitch of the wood could mean more density, right? Harder wood, which is, I would love that. I love harder wood. What do you mean? I love hardwood, dude. So like you bring this up, you hear that?
Yeah.
That's a pretty high pitch. So you hold it with these fingies, and then you just boom, boom. Dude, that's a pretty high pitch. And I know Chandler's making top quality wood for D. Gordon.
Yeah.
So I can kind of, so I would test out all my bats. I would test out all my bats like that. See the pitch, dude. And like, different models, different, makes, different wood has different pitches. But like for me, the better the quality of the wood, it had a higher pitch, at least in my opinion. And I kind of fact checked it. I swung Dinger, for the last probably, quarter of my career. Dude, they were fantastic.